What do you get if you cross coal with a brass band? Rather brassed off. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Today I'm looking back at a classic British film from the 90s called Brassed Off. It was set in the time of the miners' strike, and it follows a local group of miners and their families as they're trying to save their local pits based in Grimley, which is a veiled reference to the real mining town of Grimthorpe. And the brass band music that you hear in the film is actually played by the Grimthorpe Colliery Band with a mixture of the actors as well. It stars Pete Postlethwaite as Daddy Ormondroyd, who is the conductor of the band, along with Ewan McGregor as Andy Burrows, his love interest, who comes to join the band, who he hasn't seen for many years, Tara Fitzgerald, Stephen Moore, who is one of the management, who's trying to fight his own political battles for his own ends to decide the pit's future. Also, you've got Stephen Tompkinson, who you might remember goes on to play DCI Banks, the successful ITV drama a few years further down the line. There's also Jim Carter, who plays Harry as well. So it's got a number of high-profile actors and actresses in it. The music is absolutely fantastic. The humour is typical Northern humour, and it's a lot of memories for me because my late father was a Yorkshireman, and some of the scenes that were actually filmed in Yorkshire during the time when the band actually go on a national tour to try and compete to be the UK's best brass band is actually filmed in an area called the Priest Hole, which is an area that my father and his best friend Jimmy O'Brien knew well. It was near to where they went to school. So that has quite a close link for me. The film is not shy in dealing with the financial pressures of the day around the coal industry and the fight for energy and the fight for people to make their living in the world, much like now, combined with fantastic Northern Yorkshire humour. So it's not too dark and gloomy. In fact, it's a great watch with the music as well. It's absolutely fantastic. Blend of real life, passion, struggle, sadness, disappointment, and true grit combined with, as I say, that wonderful reverent humour in order to battle through life's adversities. At the same time of the national band competition going on and the struggle to keep the pit open, you've also got the family dramas themselves. Phil, who is Daddy's son, played by Stephen Tomlinson, his wife is fighting to keep a roof over their head, and he has a second job as a children's entertainer, Chuckles the Clown, who he claims he can do that second job in order to get them out of the frustration of possibly losing the contents of their house and everything else. And the way she reacts to his suggestion of that is absolutely priceless. As Danny says to him as they ride off on their bike, bit handy with the crockery is your Sandra. They eventually, through the competition, they do reach the finals, which is at the Royal Albert Hall. Although, interestingly, the scenes at the Albert Hall weren't actually filmed in London, they were filmed in Birmingham. That's a little unknown fact for you. During that time that they're trying to get to the Royal Albert Hall, Danny becomes ill from inhaling all the coal dust from when they were all going down the pits as well. And combine this with the pressure that Phil had to keep his house going and the band and his marriage. When his dad becomes ill and everything falls apart around him, he actually attempts to take his own life. There is a scene of self-harming in here, so do be aware of that if any children are watching. There are also some of the derogatory terms that were used during the time of the miners' strike. And there's also mild swearing as well. Bear that in mind if you've got children around. The film itself, if you particularly listen to Danny's speech at the end of the film, when they're at the Royal Albert Hall, that is something that will stay with you no matter how many times you see this film, and I've seen it legion amount of times. That speech will stay with you because he reflects that he was so focused on the band. It was his main passion. Music was his passion. It was music that mattered. But compared to the real struggle of his boys in the band and their families, he realises the importance of other things become much higher indeed. This is one of those films that if you haven't seen it, you owe it to yourself to see. It's one of those films that I would say was definitely on the list of films to see before you die, definitely within your lifetime. And it's one of those films that's gained a cult status in the UK. It led to a stage production that toured around the country. The soundtrack is fantastic, performed by the actual Grimthorpe Colliery Band. And whether or not you're a fan of brass music, you'll find it so uplifting that you'll probably want to go out and get or download the soundtrack itself, which is very worth doing. And it's one of those sort of soundtracks that will move you in all kinds of ways, just like the movie itself. Anyway, that's my review of Brassed Off. I reviewed the Blu Ray version. In terms of extra features, you get trails, you get cast profiles, and you get some very short interviews with the cast, amounting to about 10 minutes of extras, by the way. Very worthwhile seeing. Hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please give us a like and maybe even a cheeky subscribe. Next time I'm going to be reviewing the original TV series of The Incredible Hulk from the 70s and 80s, starring Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno, as part of a season of reviews on superhero movies and TV series. So look forward to that. I will see you very soon indeed for that one. Until then, please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon.